talking about? And then his biological dad says, oh, okay, well, I was like absent from his life from 7 to 12. And then you're like, oh, now I understand why he doesn't understand why men are around or how long they're supposed to be here, what's going on. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, that's why his mom's not on this documentary.
Yeah.
That it doesn't even seem like they have a relationship either. He specifically says that he thinks about Phillip every day, and like if there's one person he could really talk to about it, it would be his mom.
Yeah.
Why can't you talk to her about it?
Right.
Isn't she seeing you all the time?
Where's your mom?
Where is your mom?
That's going to be the hashtag for this episode. Where's your mom?
Well, and we're always just like, oh man, that kid is evil. He's a bad seed. He's crazy. He's this or that. But I mainly do this so that people realize that, man, parents have so much to do with every single little thing that happens in these cases.
Yep.
You know, just him having a skewed understanding of what father and stepfather roles are. And for him to admit that when he's like 20 years old, if you guys did anything, you did a good job screwing this kid up.
You did it backwards. Try again.
Yeah. Let's screw up the kid. And then he goes to prison, and that's where he learns how to be a grown-up.
On the 14th, we put a Twitter poll up to see if you guys thought that a child under 18 should be charged as an adult in a murder case. We had 26 votes on that one. 8% of you said yes. 19% of you said no, and 73% of you said it depends. So, I would like to know what you guys thought it depends on. So, I went ahead and did another Twitter poll, and I gave you 4 options: mitigating circumstances, mental health diagnoses, or method of murder, and the age being under 13. So, for the age, there was 0% on that one. The method of killing had 13%, mental health diagnoses had 25%, and mitigating circumstances had 63%. Do you think that's pretty accurate with how you would have voted?
No.
No.
Not at all, because to me, in my opinion, I don't think any child under 13 should ever be tried as an adult. I don't think any child under 14 should ever be tried as an adult. I don't care how diabolical and devious you are, you should at least be given the chance to be rehabilitated in the juvenile system up to 18, and then the judge should decide. And that's kind of what Indiana did. And having read that, I thought that should just be how it is everywhere. Because to me, if scientists are going to tell the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is going to agree that juveniles' brains are developing way into their 20s, 22 at least, I've heard, at the end of the spectrum. How can we justify sending a 12-year-old to adult court in any state if the Supreme Court has already said that this is what they think? So I think age should be the biggest factor. I think any child under 14 should be able to be rehabilitated because they have no idea what they are doing, obviously. I just don't feel like you can be anything as an adult until you are an adult, which in this country we decided was 18 a long time ago.
Right.
So why does it ever change? I think it should just be 18. And if you're under 18, there should be a multitude of different things that we can do to try to prepare you to be a normal member of society.
So even if, let's say, I agree with everything you said, but let's play devil's advocate. So if it's a 13-year-old who went on like a murder spree and killed 6 people, let's say, in the most horrific way you can think of, would you still say that?
I would say that I don't think putting a 13-year-old who brutally murdered 6 people in with hardened criminals in adult prison is going to do anything for us as a society. I think if there's been that kind of damage done to a 13-year-old, I have faith that there could be monitoring and there could be things done that make them less of a danger to society. Putting them in adult prison, everyone, including people who run prisons and politicians, have stated that everybody knows that makes you a hardened criminal. The trend is going more toward trying to keep juvenile offenders as far away from adult prisoners as they can. Because just being around it, just growing up in a shitty household. Imagine if your shitty household was actually adult prison, where people are getting horribly abused by each other and everyone all around you. That's not going to be better than sending a kid to juvie where they can be monitored. Colt is an exception as far as his experience in adult prison has seemed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think if it was anything other than what his experience has been, there would have been no interviews every couple of years. There's only interviews showing us the man he has, quote unquote, become because he's an exception. So we're going to highlight it. Every couple of years, they're going to go back and be like, look, he's still not killing people.
And also, people aren't killing him.
Everyone. Right. But that's not really the case for every other kid that goes to adult prison. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about the poll? Other than I don't agree with it? I do. I totally do.
Yeah.
I just feel like people always want to be like, that kid is evil.
Yeah. There's more to it than that.
There's always something that has happened. You know, be it a history of mental illness, which I barely even ever see that. Mental illness is hardly ever like an issue. It's more how you were raised, what's going on in your life.
What happened to you as a child?
Yeah, there's like I specifically haven't covered a case where a kid has like screaming paranoid schizophrenia, because most of these things don't happen until you're an adult.
Yeah, most of them aren't diagnosed till you're in your like 20s or something, early 20s.
Exactly, and they won't even diagnose some of these things in children because their brains aren't done developing. But that doesn't mean as a child you couldn't have had head trauma or fetal alcohol syndrome or your mom did drugs or there's something, I don't even really see that much, to be honest. It's mostly things geared more toward what's going on in kids' lives.
All right, well, that was Paul Henry Gingerich, and actually we basically did a double one here with Colt Lundy because we said a lot of stuff about him, but I appreciate you coming on.
I love it every time. Thanks so much for having me, and thanks to your listeners for listening to me ramble. But, I get very passionate when I'm talking about this kind of stuff, so it's hard not to give my full opinion.
No, I love it. It's perfect. It's definitely a different side, too, because you keep your opinions on the down low with your podcast. You just give the facts on there, so...
I really do. It's more about the stories, but I love giving my opinion every once in a while when somebody wants to hear it. So I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, and we would love to hear your guys' opinions on it too. I'll probably post another poll here soon and see what your guys' thoughts are about what we discussed today. But until then, don't call the cops unless somebody gets shot, really.
That's always great advice. And I want to remind everyone, don't be scared. It's a tragedy. I wonder where his mother is.
Where's your mom?
Where is your mom?
That's going to be the hashtag for this episode. Where's your mom?
You've heard the stories about murder and homicide. But what about the rest of the crimes committed daily? What about the police officer who robbed banks during lunch? Or the multi-million-dollar diamond heist? What about the assaulters, stalkers, and arsonists? I'm Lindsay, the host of Mugshot. Mugshot is a new true crime podcast that tells the stories of non-murderous crimes. Season 1 has begun, and new episodes release on Mondays. Mugshot can be found on most podcatchers and on social media at the handle @MugshotPod. I hope you'll join me, but until then, be on your best behavior, or you'll end up with your own mugshot.
My name is Hunter.
And I'm Haley, and we're your hosts of
Murder and Such, a podcast about true crime, serial killers, and other dark subject matter. Join us while we fill your ear holes with some crappy comedy and disgusting tales.
You can now find us on Spotify,
iTunes,
Stitcher,
Podbean,
and all of your podcatcher services. You can like us on Facebook, Instagram, and follow us on Twitter
@Murder and Such.
Hope to hear from you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.